Hey guys, Magic Man here, and today I'm going to be bringing you a game in my Tier 7 Mahan. I've been playing this ship quite a bit lately just because I have a brand new captain in it. And, well, this game is something of a, I don't even know what to call it. This is just like retardedness. If you look at my team, they're all sailing, pointing their ships to the east side of the map over towards the D cap. Well, that's fine and good and all, but you have to contest the A cap, otherwise the enemy team will just swing around A and straight into B, and then you'll be cornered over in the northeast corner of the map where you just get surrounded and die. So with my division mate, Captain Brown again, with me in a carrier, I am going to go over here to A and try and disrupt anybody who comes over here and just kind of delay the cap as long as I can. And he is actually sending his dive bombers over to scout, but he hasn't seen any fighter aircraft, so he's going to go straight over across the map to try and do some damage to the enemy ships. And that's when a destroyer becomes spotted over by the D cap, and I think he actually heads his dive bombers over in that direction, but he spots a fighter and kind of decides against it. But anyways, enough about him. He has his own battles to fight this game. We're moving in on the A cap here, and I haven't spotted anybody yet, which is a good sign, because that means that the whole of the enemy team could have gone over there to D, as far as I know right now. Now we are about to capture the D point. We're very close, and whoever's in there capping the point kind of been taking some fire because it kept getting reset, but we finally capture it fully. I'm going to get in the A point, see if I can capture it. It'll definitely give us a big advantage, and the sad part was I saw those torpedo bombers coming in, and I thought to myself that, well, there's just no way I'm going to be able to cap this if they spot me. But luckily the enemy carrier doesn't have a very high opinion of spotting, I guess, because he actually takes his aircraft and goes somewhere else with him. But I'm going to fire some torpedoes at this Koenig. If he keeps charging in, he is going to drive straight into them, which will be great for me. And as you can see there, I shot some right at the indicator cone, and then I shot some to the left of the indicator cone because I felt like he might turn in. I mean, he is spotted, and they don't seem to be too worried about spotting anybody and fighting them, so it looks like he isn't going to change course much. It looks like that torpedo right in the middle is going to get him. And I zoom in to take a look, and sure enough, boom, right in his side. I actually knock out his engine, which is great because he's almost in my spotting range. My spotting range is 7.7 in this ship, and actually turn the ship around to the other side and launch off my other set of torpedoes on the right side of the ship, because it looks like he is unfazed by those torpedoes. And all I'm doing right at this particular moment in time is just making these guys think twice about coming into the cap. And I thought about shooting right here, but there is a cruiser and there's two battleships, and currently they have nothing to shoot at, so I don't want to give them something to shoot at. I don't want to lose any of my health unnecessarily. And that guy actually changed his course a little bit there. And I'm going to do the same thing I did last time. I'm going to fire him at the indicator and then fire him to the left in case he turns in, which it looks like he had actually just started turning when I fired those torpedoes off. So those might miss, they might strike, who knows. He is kind of changing his course back out to the right again, so those torpedoes actually look pretty good. We'll see what happens. This was actually kind of a funny match because there weren't a whole lot of destroyers in it. I think the enemy team only had one, and there were only two on our team. But those torpedoes are actually looking pretty good to hit the cruiser. Not so much for the battleship. He actually kind of sailed right in between them, I think. And we do actually get a torpedo hit on the cruiser. No flooding though, unfortunately. And that's when the airplanes start coming in over here. I do not want to get spotted by them, because those ships are actually closer to me now than they were before. So I've kind of identified this Koenig as my target. Now, some argue that I probably should have been shooting at the Baron because he's the higher tier ship. He's probably the bigger threat. But really, if I want to effectively blanket an area and kill somebody, I can only do it with do it against one ship. So that was kind of my thinking here, and I probably should have turned around and fired torpedoes from the other side of my ship, but I was just trying to pull some distance on these guys. I didn't want to turn around and give them something to shoot at, and that's when I actually get spotted by those torpedo bombers. And since I'm already in this smoke, and luckily the friendly aircraft are all spotting these guys, because there's really nobody else over here to spot. And I'm going to take this opportunity to see if I can shave some health off of this cruiser, because he's really the biggest threat to me. And he's actually taken quite a bit of damage. He's definitely taken a beating, that's for sure. And land some shells there, but they don't do anything but knock out an AA gun. And I'm going to fire some torpedoes up that gap. Make sure that if he does come through there, that he might potentially take a torpedo. And it doesn't look like he's interested in doing that. He's actually turning out. I'm thinking maybe some friendly aircraft might have given away the fact that or not friendly, but enemy aircraft might have given away the fact that I shot torpedoes, but I'll never know. But it's time for me to get out of the smoke screen now, because those ships are still undaunted by the fact that there is a destroyer. They're just going to keep on charging. And I am actually going to fire some torpedoes at this guy as soon as I get into a position where I feel good enough to do that. And unfortunately for me, he actually waited till I turned sideways to shoot at me. And this really sucks that I'm out in the open against this cruiser. I don't want to be. The Mahan's actually pretty slow for a destroyer, so it's really easy to hit. And I'm just going to hold my fire, do what I can to avoid these shots, and that's when I saw that all those torpedoes hit that battleship. So I'm thinking at this point, might as well do what I can for damage. And actually landed us a pretty good chunk of damage. Granted, those torpedoes only did about 40,000 damage. They're still pretty darn good, and I'm kind of hollering at Captain Brown to kill this battleship, because it's the only thing that's spotting me right now. I really needed him to be gone, because I've already lost quite a bit of my health at this point. Yeah, and all those guys are just focusing me down. And they finally take care of him. But unfortunately for me, I lost a lot of health in my engagement, and that Koenig actually takes a blind shot, almost hits me. If he would have actually landed a shell on me, that probably would have been the end of my game right there. And now I have these dive bombers coming in. For whatever reason, they're trying to kill this battleship at the very edge of the map on my team. And thankfully for him, I'm actually spared getting shot at by that cruiser, because he gets a devastating strike on that cruiser and takes him out of the game. So I'm turning back in now. I've got my smoke screen back up. I'm going to get in close and try and torpedo this guy. We do have a ship advantage right now, and I felt like if I could actually sink this battleship, that we could actually win this game. And I do get detected by aircraft again. I unfortunately have to use my smoke because I thought those dive bombers were coming for me. I didn't want to be spotted as they were coming in and give him an easy kill. So just trying to push the boundary of my smoke a little bit forwards as I'm going here. And unfortunately for me, I was kind of hollering at Captain Brown. I'm like, hey, I need some planes over here to spot this battleship. And that's when he spots them, because I want to keep him out of the cap, or if I can't keep him out of a cap, at least reset the cap as he's coming into it. And switch over to HE. I actually noticed this time that I had AP loaded, and that was a bad choice. So I'm holding my fire at this particular moment because I'm waiting to see if Captain Brown's dive bombers are going to actually set some fires, and they do. So there are fires set. I assume he is going to put them out. And no, he's just going to let them burn. He is on fire in 3 different places, and I don't know what he's waiting for to put out the fires. And I'm just spreading my torpedoes around here. And I didn't know if the enemy aircraft were going to spot those torpedoes or not. But he takes a huge shot from that battleship in the back of the map on our team. And this is when I decide to actually open fire, because if I don't, I'm probably not going to get any damage at all. And the way that this guy was shooting earlier, I had to imagine that he was going to probably try and blind fire into my smoke, which is why I was holding fire that whole time. Because if you can almost land a blind shot on a destroyer from 14 kilometers away, I feel like you're pretty good. And unfortunately for him, he gets taken out. And luckily for me, I don't take any damage from him. And that's going to be the game.